back in Studio K with Harlow. Can I
Hi.
have you? Yeah. How you doing?
Doing great.
That's
That was
awesome.
such a fun performance, and it's our first time here, so
Yeah.
thanks for having us.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in. Can I have you introduce yourself and your instruments, and then maybe have your other bandmates do the same thing?
Yeah. I'm Samuel Ketchum. I play guitar and I sing, and
I'm Julia Neen. I play the drums.
Jonah Hatton, I play pedal steel.
Johnny Hall, I play guitar. I'm Dez, and I play bass, and I sing when Hannah's not here.
we have a six-member Hannah Morton who's not here tonight, but she lives in Portland. But when she's here, she's plays violin and sings, and is an important part of the band.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sorry to miss her, but you guys are still fantastic. That was awesome to listen to.
Thanks.
I want to talk briefly about what we just heard. That last song there, Rainbow Trouts, your latest single, correct?
Correct.
How has that been received so far since you released it?
It's been a good one so far. That was a song I had for a while, and then brought to the band a little bit later. And I wasn't so sold on it, but everyone else was, and people kept asking after shows like, "Well, where can I hear that?" And it's always a good sign. So we did it here at Casino Time in Minneapolis with McCoy, and it's been going pretty well. People dig it. People have been listening.
Totally.
Yeah.
So before you release a song, do you like to play it live just to kind of like feel it out, feel everyone's response to it before releasing it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose this band started with like a bunch of demos I created in the pandemic, but since then, we usually introduce it, write it all together, kind of work it out together. I mean, and then we'll play it for a while out, and then we'll go into the studio and do it pretty quick.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, and then the other two songs that we heard they were from the Other Lives Told EP, right? We had Isabel. I'm curious, is Isabel a real person? Is that
No? I know it maybe takes some credit away from the song, but
feels so
I wrote
heartfelt.
that song in probably 5 years ago now, but it just kind of came. I always just love that name. I think it's a beautiful name, and I thought I'd tell a story that I think a lot of people like, kind of fallen out of love story, bittersweet, you know.
Yeah.
And
Your sound complements that so well too.
thank you. Yeah, I want people to happy cry, or we want people to be emotional. That's kind of our goal, maybe.
Yeah. I love it. And then Palo Alto too. That comes from the same EP.
Yeah, Palo Alto is an interesting song because lyrically, because that one was not made up. That was from a call I called my grandma, and was kind of like, my grandma's getting older, I'm getting older, so our conversations were more so like, hey, like, what was it like back then? And then she just kind of told me this whole grandiose story of like my great uncle living in Palo Alto after being an admiral in the Navy, and then my dad. It's like every verse kind of talks about a different family member, and then brings it back to me at the end.
Wow.
So it was a cool one. It was a unique story. It felt like it came out right away after that phone call, which doesn't typically happen.
Totally. That's a really cool story.
Thanks.
So the theme behind the whole EP, Other Lives Told, it seems like there's a recurring theme of telling other people's stories. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Not that it's a bad thing or anything, but I feel like a lot of times when you're writing songs, you get so mixed up in yourself and your woes and whatever you're going through, and it can be a bit morose and sad. And so I felt like with this project in Harlow, I kind of sought to talk about other people more and trying to be more empathetic and put myself in other, make up stories. And Hannah did the same. And every song that we put kind of just ended up talking about other people and their perspectives. Cool. And so we thought we'd call it Other Lives Told. Felt pretty fitting.
Yeah. So did you set out to do that at the beginning when you were beginning this project, or did it just kind of come together in that way?
I think it was less about like writing for other people with this project, and more so I wanted to write less sad songs. Before I had a band called Sal Paradis, and everything was so sad, and because I was sad, but then it's natural, it's good to let it out. But this one I was like, it doesn't have to be happy, but I want it to be hopeful, and that's what I kind of strive for the Harlow music, to just give you a little bit of like, even if it's like a melancholy hope, something that makes you feel a little bit. Yeah.
Totally. And I've seen your sound be described as nostalgic too. Is that something that you embed in there intentionally, or is it just kind of what comes out, like you were saying?
I think it just, I don't even know like what the sound of nostalgia is.
Yeah, it's so hard to pin
right?
down. Yeah.
But it is very clear. I think when you hear it, it makes you feel, I don't know, it's kind of nostalgic. Nostalgia is such a weird, like, double-edged sword feeling where it can be like absolute misery of like, we'll never live that again.
Yeah.
Or it can be like, oh, things aren't so bad. I was a kid and like it's the same world and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
And I think it's a mix of both of those things. So when you're talking about like happy crying, I think the
Yeah.
nostalgia like captures that perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I try to go for that. I just want, or we want people to feel nostalgic, I suppose, when they listen to the tunes, think about their childhood.
Yeah. Awesome. Tell me about your attraction to folk music. I feel like maybe I'm going to the wrong concerts, but I don't see many younger bands out there in folk music. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, what attracts you to folk music?
I think, I think the attraction started long ago for me personally. And I can speak for a lot of us here, like a lot of 60s and 70s music. When I was a teenager, that's what I loved, was Neil Young and different, like, you know, America. All those soft rock bands of that era was just all I wanted. And what I think what's attractive about it is it's so, for lack of a better way, like, it's so pretty. It's so beautiful, and there's so many range of instruments you can have in it. So we have like a pedal steel player, Jonah, who joined the band not too long ago, and then we sometimes have a mandolin player, and it's just it can be, and it's also indie folk rock, so it can be you know, sometimes all electric and like a good old fashioned indie pop band. But then also, you know, let's bring it back with Isabel. That song could be written at any time, and I think I like that timelessness of
Yeah.
the genre.
Totally. That's awesome. I'm going to kind of take it back to your songwriting here. It seems very poetic. Were you a poet before you were a musician?
No, I cannot write poetry to this day. I don't feel like
Well, you do it.
I don't know. I suppose like I was always a singer first. I suppose.
Mm.
And I don't know. I've always just been a lyric-driven person. Like that's what I listened to first, and those are the artists I like the most. Was specifically people who can tell a story.
Mm.
Those are the lyrics I want to go towards, and I don't know. I just really set out. I wanted to set a scene, and I guess if it sounds poetic to you and it sounds beautiful to you, then I'm doing my job okay.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I think so. I feel like songwriting is a very daunting thing for a lot of people, especially those who are just beginning. So tell me about like some strategies that you've come up with to maybe overcome like writer's block or just your approach overall to songwriting.
Well, I think there's like a little bit of I went like years of just like going off, you know, my engines were running on inspiration. When I felt inspired, that's when I would write. But then I was like, oh, a little bit of like elbow grease works too. Like you have a idea Tuesday night and you have all this creative energy. You might not have that Wednesday or the week after, but you should still sit down and work on it. And you could, you know, kind of work away at it for a while.
Yeah.
And so I think just like putting work into it helps. And then also if I am ever facing writer's block, one thing I've been doing lately is like I try to write a song in someone else's voice. You're like, I'm gonna write a Casey Musgrave song, and you kind of sing it in your head like she would, but then no matter what, it's gonna end up sounding like you because you're in there and you're writing the song. So I think if you can just take yourself out of it and not think about how anyone else is gonna judge it.
Yeah.
Just be ready to, if you can be ready to throw it away, like this song is just for me in my room. Those are usually the ones that you bring or that I've brought to the band, and it's been like, oh, we got to do that one. So
Totally. And that seems like it was kind of the case for Rainbow Trout, maybe.
yeah, Rainbow Trout and Palo Alto,
Yeah.
Isabel, most of them. I'm pretty hard on myself.
I think all musicians are, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just
Yeah.
you never think it's good, and then one person says, yeah, it's pretty good, and you're like, that's great, cool. All right,
Yeah, exactly.
we can move forward with that. Just need
Validation
to-
goes a long way.
I need the affirmation. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, just don't be too hard on yourself, but also be very hard on yourself.
Yeah, it's a good balance. Yeah, totally. All right. Well, tell me about how the group came together. I'm very curious about that because you guys put out your first record in 2021, correct? So tell me about that origin story.
God, it was like, so it would have been right when everyone was staying inside. That we began writing the first EP on my own in my bedroom, and then, God, all of us kind of go back. Like Johnny we had like a different guitar player and bass player at the beginning, and so met Johnny through a friend of a friend, and he clicked right away. Julia, I know from Hamlin. We're old college buddies. We played in a jazz combo together. We both faked it. That's why we're in a folk rock band
Very
now.
nice. Yeah.
Dez, just another friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And now,
Sweet story.
what's Dez's story? Go for it.
Des was at a show at Ice House, and he came up to us so enthused in the parking lot and was just like, "Oh my gosh, that was incredible! Can I get a T-shirt?" Like, who are you guys? And then he's in the band now. Yeah. It was really sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dez fits. Everyone in this band is in. Jonah, I suppose, came in like how many months ago now, Jonah? December? And it's so weird because sometimes bands can be kind of not the best hang, really talented people with egos that don't get along.
There you go.
This band is not like that. Everyone seems to be on the same wavelength of just kind of like, feel, take it easy, hang loose, whatever you want to call it. Everyone's in pretty good mood. We're just like joking and hanging out a lot. So it's it's nice that everyone fits into that mold.
Yeah.
Both musically and personality-wise.
Totally. So you started with like a core group, and it seems like you've been grabbing people since then. What was the core group that you started with?
The core group, instrumentation-wise,
Yeah.
it was pretty much the same, except we had no pedal steel, and we had a violin instead, and a keyboard that was more like doing synth stuff. But this being like the third band we're going for now, it's kind of nice to be a bit more malleable as a band, and if one person leaves, it's not like, well, I got to start a whole new project now. It's kind of, if one person leaves, they need to go do their stuff. We understand, and there's so many good musicians in town, and playing around for a while, it's easy to just call people, and yeah.
Cool. Tell me about some highlights that you guys have had as a group so far together.
Do you guys have any highlights? You got one? Oh, big one. We had this last year, we played at the First Avenue Best New Band on the main stage. I think I can speak for all of us to saying, growing up, when we go to the First Avenue main room, that was always like, oh, one day I'll play there. And then we got to do it to not like a sold out audience. And it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
That was really fun. We took a tour a tiny little tour last fall, but I think that was a highlight just because we got to hang out more often than we usually get to, and we love each other, so we just packed into a car. It was great. Went to the beach in Milwaukee, played a few great shows in Madison, Milwaukee, and guys, got any other highlights you can think of?
I think the whole thing has been a highlight. Like, a lot of us have history in the Twin Cities music scene and have gone through kind of, pay your dues thing, and kind of grinded. And it's just been like so nice to land into such a great group that you connect with and make music that you love making and enjoy showing up to practice. And it's the whole thing's been a highlight.
That's awesome.
That's sweet. I think that the approach to this band is a little bit less like, oh, we got to get that, and if we don't get that, then we're upset. And it's not like, there's not a lot of bitterness or a lot of competitive. It's just nature. We just kind of like to write and play all the time, and it works out that way, I suppose.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are setting yourselves up for a long time together. It seems like your chemistry is definitely there.
Hell yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Tell me a little bit about your live performance. What can people expect when they come to a show of yours?
Well, similar to what you just heard a few minutes ago, obviously. But I don't know, I think we practice a lot, and we play out a lot too. So I don't know, I think expect us all to show up, and we want to, I suppose, like give you the best, like most present performance as possible. I know that's really important to me as a singer. It's like you want to feel like someone's meaning it when they sing it and they're not somewhere else.
I think we're a great like grab a beer or grab a like Diet Coke if you're not of age type of band and just sit and like vibe out with your friends. I think we're a good vibe band. Yeah.
I think so too. I think it's pretty, for lack of a better term, easy listening.
There you go.
It's smooth, easy on the ears. So
Yeah.
yeah, I suppose come out to the show if you like any music at all, you'll probably like it.
Yeah, totally. Tell me about some upcoming shows that you have coming up.
Let's see. We're playing at a brewery in Minneapolis called Head Flyer, and then we're playing in June at the Green Room. And Head Flyer we are playing tomorrow.
Cool. What time does that start at?
I think that starts it's at 4 to 5 p.m.
But there's great bands. There's great bands.
There's music all night. It's like a festival, kind of 6-year anniversary for Head Flyer. So that'll be pretty sweet. And then in June at the new Green Room in Uptown, and some other stuff that you can see.
Totally. Very exciting. I want to ask you real quick about your cover arts. That's something that really caught my eye when I was looking through your Spotify. Not on the latest EP, but there's a few album cover arts with like a collage kind of art with like the animal heads.
Yeah.
Who does that, and how did that come to be?
That's our good friend Anthony Clementi, who's a phenomenal local artist. I guess I had the rough idea of like, hey, what if we did like a decomposing animal head?
So that's what you're going for there.
Yeah, that's what we were going for, just different animal heads, and he took it and made it amazing. Like what I love about those album covers is it looks great when you just see this tiny little print of it on Spotify or wherever you're looking at. But then if you really zoom in and got a big picture, there's so much detail. And our T-shirts have the wolf head on them, so you can see all that detail. And yeah, he's great, and he just knocked out of the park. So we'll probably work with him again.
Totally. Where did that idea come from, and how does it kind of fit your sound?
God, where did that idea come from? I don't know. I think just a random...
Just came up.
Well, wait, no, I remember. The first guitar player in this band, my great friend Jack, had a little wolf tattoo that Anthony did for him, like a stick and poke in our living room, and it was a wolf. And I liked that, and I was like, I think a wolf would be kind of cool. And then he took the wolf head and ran with that. And then after that, I was like, let's keep the fish. Yep, fish. And then I was like, horse. So then we did horse. And then we're like, all right, let's abandon the animal head theme for now. Maybe we'll come back later to
Okay.
it. But,
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Totally. All right, I got one more question for you guys. It's more of a fun one. You'll have to collaborate for this answer.
Okay.
So I want you to build a bill. You get to be on the show. So you're one of the groups, but you get 3 other spots. You can choose any group ever, dead or alive, to join you on the show. And then you got to tell me a venue that you're playing at too.
Okay.
So take your time, deliberate,
Okay.
and let me know. We've had some pretty good answers for this in the past few weeks. I'm just going to ramble while they come up with their answer.
Would have been Frank Ocean, but not anymore.
They're talking about Frank Ocean.
No, we're going to do
Maybe Neil Young.
Frank Ocean and radio.
The suspense is killing me.
Not anymore.
Okay. So I think our bill is we're going to play at the Red Rocks Amphitheater.
We had that answer last week too. That's a
Oh, you did?
popular
Never mind.
spot.
We're
No,
not
it's
going to do that
fine,
one.
it's fine,
No. We're going to do a local tennis court in a suburb.
Yep.
That's what I'd like. And in like Anoka or something. And then we're going to play with Mr. Anti-Spotify Neil Young and his band Crazy Horse, just because we love him in this band. And Radiohead, because we don't want to be the best band on the bill. And they're like the best band ever. And you guys didn't, I don't know, let's finish the night off somewhere fun. The best other, all right, Radiohead's one of the best studio bands of all time. So let's get another one in there. Let's finish the night off with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
There you go. What a show.
I think That would be an amazing show at the Anoka Middle School tennis courts. I think that'd be great. There's so many people at that bill, but yeah. If are you guys going to line that up? Can you make that happen?
Yep, we'll make it happen. That's what I'm just taking notes. So
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
any time period that you're looking for here?
I'd love late, like dog days of summer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smack in the middle of the summer. Let's do it.
Yeah. There's going to be no tennis practices or anything.
Yeah, probably not. It'll be too hot. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Thank you for that. Totally. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Harlow. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Eli and Radio K. This was so smooth, and we had such a good time playing. Yeah.
I had a great time listening, and I hope everyone out there did as well. I'm sure they did. Again, you're listening to Off the Record. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to send it back to the booth for some more local music until 5 p.m. Yeah, it's Purple Day today. Rest in peace, Prince. So I'm sure we'll be spinning some of that. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
You're listening to Radio K, Real College Radio.